David sits alone at his desk, a sea of papers surrounding him. His face reveals worry and deep contemplation. The emptiness of the classroom amplifies his isolation. The room is cast in a dim light, with overflowing bookshelves lining the walls as David sits immersed in shadow. At 55, David grapples with a secret fear, one he keeps hidden from his students. At 55, David had a secret he never told his students. He was terrified of retiring. After 30 years of teaching, all he could see ahead was a fading paycheck and a dwindling savings account. After 3 decades of teaching, David sees only a future of financial decline. David stares intently at a letter, his face etched with dismay and anxiety. The weight of his pension estimate sinks in, casting a shadow over his weary features. His eyes dart around the room, a desperate search for answers in the silence of his home. In the stillness of an unknown space, a haunting voice breaks the silence. The narrator's voice echo. His retirement projection did add up. The narrator continues, a tinge of sadness in his voice. He wasn't ready. He felt like he'd never be. Against a stark, neutral backdrop, words blaze to life, questioning a fundamental premise. The screen asks, what if the real problem wasn't the numbers, but a belief? A rapid montage begins, showcasing David immersed in his world. Chalk dust swirls as David passionately fills blackboards with complex equations. Classrooms buzz with young, eager students, their faces glowing with newfound knowledge and joyous laughter. David's burning passion etches itself into every moment, his unwavering dedication a tangible presence. Sunlight fills the empty classroom, desks aligned in perfect rows. The narrator reflects on David's love for teaching. David loved teaching, not for the money, but for the mission. The silent classroom awaits its students, a space dedicated to learning and purpose. Sunlight floods the classroom, illuminating dust motes as younger David stands before his students. Younger David, brimming with youthful enthusiasm, shares his wisdom with the class. Do what you love, and the money will follow. In the echoing darkness, a voice narrates past convictions. Narrator, VO. It was a belief he'd carried since his 20s. If I do what I love, money will take care of itself. David sits opposite the financial advisor, the atmosphere heavy with unspoken financial tension. The financial advisor studies David's documents, his brow furrowing with concern. A palpable sense of financial uncertainty hangs in the air. Sunlight streams into the modern office as the advisor leans forward, concern etched on his face. The advisor reviews the client's documents, the financial reality becoming stark. You're looking at a 1-200 monthly gap between your expenses and retirement income. Do you have any other investments? David stands, his calm demeanor unwavering. He speaks of a life untouched by greed, his eyes reflecting contentment. Just my pension and a bit in savings. I've never really been into money. Narrator's voice echoes, revealing David's avoidance of financial reality, masked by his noble career. Narrator explains that David wasn't just unprepared. He was avoiding financial reality, hiding behind his noble career. David shoves the unopened mail into the drawer, eyes filled with avoidance. He ignores the unopened retirement planning mail, choosing to bury it away rather than confront it. The weight of his avoidance settles heavily in the silence of his home. The school cafeteria buzzes during Karen's retirement party. David stands among his colleagues, a forced smile on his face. People clap politely, celebrating Karen's early retirement. Narrator, VO. Something shifted within David as he watched his colleague Karen, radiating joy, retire at 52 and purchase a second home in Florida. A vision of Karen surfaces in David's mind, her smile wide and untroubled. The image of Karen fades, leaving David to grapple with his own unfulfilled dreams. David walks alone through the city night, cloaked in shadows. His brow furrows, each step echoing an unspoken burden. Trouble weighs heavily on him. In the stark light, David stands alone, his brow furrowed with unspoken frustration. The weight of his struggle echoes in his internal monologue. I've worked just as hard. Why am I so far behind? His solitude amplifies the sting of perceived failure, the spotlight a harsh reminder of his isolated battle. David lies awake in the dim light, his mind racing as he stares up at the ceiling. Unable to sleep, he grabs his phone and begins to scroll through YouTube, searching for answers. How to retire after 50. Is it too late to invest? The screen's glow illuminates the worry etched across his face. David sits alone in the dim light, the glow of the laptop screen reflecting in his tired eyes. He scrolls endlessly through videos, a sense of boredom and desperation creeping into his expression. The narrator's voice cuts through the silence. That night, David stumbled on a video. A financial coach said one line that changed everything. A coach appears on screen, his intensity drawing viewers in. His motivational speech captivates, demanding attention. The background blurs, focusing solely on his compelling presence. A solitary figure, coach, stands before an unseen audience. His voice echoes in the nondescript space, be it classroom or office. Coach declares, "Your beliefs about money shape your retirement more than your salary ever did." David stops the video, lost in thought. He rewinds, then plays it again, seeking answers. He watches it again. In a brightly lit room, a figure, presumably a coach, stands tall, ready to impart wisdom. With emphatic gestures, the coach begins to speak, his words carrying the weight of experience. The coach declares, "If you believe money is bad, you'll never let yourself have enough of it." David stares intently at the screen, his eyes blinking slowly. The weight of the truth sinks in, and David's expression shifts with realization. David processes the information, the impact of the revelation, evident in his eyes. David sits at his desk, lost in thought as he begins to journal. His brow furrows as he writes, the pen scratching against the paper. Money is... An empty page lies open, inviting David's thoughts. A pen hovers, poised to transcribe beliefs about to be revealed. Narrator. VO. David embarked on a radical journey. He began to document his deepest beliefs about money. Close up on David's journal, its pages filled with solemn reflections. The begins. Money is selfish. Money is power. Money corrupts. Silence descends, heavy and absolute. A profound understanding begins to form. The narrator speaks from the ether. And he realized he didn't just lack money. The truth hits with full force. He resented it. David's eyes remain glued to a laptop screen, absorbing a stream of financial news and analysis. David's nose dives into thick books about investing and wealth management. David scribbles notes furiously during an intense conversation with a financial coach. In a brightly lit room, Coach and David sit face to face, a table laden with papers separating them. Coach leans forward, urging David to reframe his perspective. Replace that belief. Try. Money lets me keep helping people, even after I stop working. David listens intently, considering the coach words, the scattered papers, a silent witness to their session. Sunlight floods the office as David begins his day, a faint smile gracing his lips. He leans over a notebook, brow furrowed in concentration, as he scribbles down his thoughts. With conviction, David pens the words, "Money is energy. Money enables freedom." A profound shift begins, subtly altering the perception of money. Narrator. VO. Slowly, his mindset shifted. Narrator. VO. He stopped seeing money as the enemy and started seeing it as a tool. David embarks on a side tutoring gig online. He makes the smart decision to open a Roth IRA. David meticulously tracks his expenses. David joins a financial group. David sits in the circle of mismatched chairs, his eyes locking onto the camera, a newfound conviction burning within him. He begins to speak, his voice resonating with the power of transformation. "I used to think money wasn't for people like me." A pause, then a declaration that changes everything. "Now I think it's a tool for people like me to do more good." Sunlight floods David's cozy home office as he prepares to share his wisdom. He begins recording his course, How to Teach with Heart. His voice resonates with passion, ready to inspire a new generation of educators. Narrator sets the stage, revealing David's unique perspective on the next chapter. David didn't just prepare for retirement, redefined it. The room is dimly lit by a monitor's glow, shadows dancing on the cluttered desk. Email notifications flash. New course sale, $129. Another notification appears. Coaching inquiry. The screen bursts with images of a man consumed by his work, his face alight with passion. He is surrounded by colleagues, their collaboration sparking new ideas and shared success. Positive feedback floods in, validating his efforts and fueling his drive. Narrator. VO. With a new belief, He built income streams that aligned with who he was. Narrator, VO. He wasn't retiring, he was relaunching. David stands at the head of the room, his smile a beacon of reassurance to the new teachers. The community center buzzes with anticipation as the new teachers await guidance. David's enthusiasm fills the room, promising a journey of growth and impact. A lone spotlight shines on David, a man in his late 60s, as he commands the stage with quiet confidence. He reflects on past expectations. I used to think retirement meant fading out. David's tone shifts with newfound conviction. Now I see it as leveling up. David walks the school hallway. It is his final act. He smiles, fear replaced by acceptance. A voice echoes from the unseen, setting the stage. Same man, same mission. The unseen speaker intensifies, adding a crucial layer, but with one powerful belief shift. A voice resonates, filled with conviction. The narrator's voice booms. I am allowed to have wealth and use it for good. David stands on the beach, a copy of Purposeful Retirement in hand. He laughs, relaxed and carefree. Purposeful retirement, he muses, a smile playing on his lips. The scene hangs in quiet anticipation, a blank canvas awaiting David's narrative. Narrator, VO's voice cuts through the silence. David's retirement didn't come from winning the lottery. The unseen story of David begins to unfold, promising a tale far from ordinary. A solitary spotlight shines on a blank page, the words rippling as if reality itself is being reshaped. Narrator, VO. It came from rewriting his story and belief at a time. The words begin to solidify, forming a new narrative. A profound statement echoes as the scene begins. Change the belief. The narrative continues. Change the future. The screen remains focused on the text, underscoring the significance of the message. An empty stage bathed in the stark glare of a single spotlight. A voice echoes from the darkness. The narrator asks, "What's the one belief holding you back?" The screen lights up, showcasing bold text. Retirement revolution. Start your story today.